Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a really big idea called consecration. Now, I know that sounds like a huge, complicated word, but don't worry. What it really means is actually super simple and honestly pretty powerful. It's all about learning how to give your whole heart to God.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt, I don't know, just a little bit tangled up inside? You know that feeling. Like maybe you keep doing something you wish you wouldn't, and you're thinking, ugh, why do I keep doing that? Or maybe you just don't feel like you're being the best version of yourself. It's kind of like being caught in this giant, messy knot, and you're not sure how to get free.
All right, so let's talk about that feeling of being stuck, because it's a real thing. The source material calls it feeling alienated, which is just a fancy way of saying we feel distant or far away from God. We can even get caught in what's called a snare. Okay, now I know that phrase, snare of Satan, can sound super intense, right? But hold on, don't go picturing some scary monster's trap. That's not what this is about. Think of it more like getting stuck in bad habits or making selfish choices that just hold us back. They're the things that keep us from being truly happy and feeling close to God.
But here is the good news. In fact, it is the best news. God's number one desire is to help us. He wants to untangle all those feelings and set us free. He's not sitting around waiting for us to mess up. Not at all. He's right there, waiting to help us get back up.
So, how does God help? Well, it's definitely not about making us into robots that just follow orders without thinking. Nope, that's not his style at all. See, he gave you an amazing brain for a reason. He actually wants to work with you. And this is his invitation to us. It's not a command, it's a conversation. He's basically saying, hey, let's talk this through. Let's figure this out together. He wants to be your partner, not your boss.
So if we're going to team up with God, how do we do it? It all comes down to one amazing thing that every single one of us has. I like to think of it as our very own superpower.
And that superpower is your will. Your will is the part of you that makes decisions. Think of it like the steering wheel of your life, right? We can't always control our feelings. Sometimes we feel sad or grumpy for no reason, but we can always control our choices. We can always decide where to steer. That's your will in action. Here's how it works. It's a pretty simple two-step process. First, we have to admit we can't just snap our fingers and make our hearts perfect. We can't do it on our own. But step two, well, that's where our superpower kicks in. We can choose. We can choose to give our will, our steering wheel, to God. We can just say, okay, God, I choose you.
And when you make that choice, something absolutely incredible happens. It's like you plug into God's power. He starts working inside you, helping your thoughts and your feelings and your desires line up with His good and happy plan for you.
Now, you might hear people say we need to give up all for God, and that can sound a little scary. Like, give up everything? But think of it this way. Imagine you're carrying a super heavy backpack filled with rocks. It's slowing you down and making you tired. Giving things up for God is just deciding to put down that heavy backpack. So what's in that heavy backpack? They're sometimes called slavish bands, things like caring way too much about money, or being obsessed with what other people think of you, or always wanting the easy way out. These are the things that really weigh us down and pull our hearts away from real happiness. So when we decide to put down that heavy backpack and give our all to God, what are we actually letting go of? We're giving up the very things that make us feel all tangled up and sad. We're letting go of a heart that's hurting from our mistakes and selfish choices. We're basically giving away our pain so He can heal it. And what do we get in return? A clean, happy heart filled with God's amazing love. You give Him the broken parts, and He gives you healing and joy. It is, without a doubt, the best trade ever. You see, this whole journey isn't about following a bunch of boring rules. It's all about finding real, deep, lasting joy. It's about discovering the path to true happiness. It's pretty simple, really. There are two paths. The path of transgression, which just means going against God's loving advice, well, that path leads to misery. But God's path, it's designed to lead us to pure happiness. And this is so important to remember. It is a huge mistake to think God is happy when we are suffering. The exact opposite is true. All of heaven is rooting for our happiness. So where does that true, joyous life come from? It comes from inviting Jesus into our hearts. It's about letting Him be our friend, our guide, and the center of our lives. That's the secret to real, lasting joy. So, Let's bring it all together. It all comes back to our superpower. By using your will, your power to choose, correctly, your entire life can be changed for the better. It is the key that unlocks everything. And when you make that choice to give your will to Him, you're not on your own anymore. You are teaming up with the greatest, strongest, and most loving power in the entire universe. You have the ultimate ally on your side.
So remember, you have this incredible superpower right now, the power of choice. The question is, what good will you choose to do with it today?